So now we're going to kind of play around with our file permissions. I'm going to go back to my tab, and again, you may not have two tabs. You can go back and forth using the SU command. I just think it's easier to use multiple tabs with Windows Terminal. Mac has kind of a similar tool where you can have these different tabs open. If you're just using pure PowerShell, you can't have different tabs. You have to open different windows, but same with PuTTY, but however you want to do this. So first step is to play around with file permissions. We're going to create a directory, and it's going to be a shared directory. So it's kind of a place where I can share stuff with other people, right? I'm going to call it shared_test. So that created my directory. Now the first thing is, because my intention of this directory is to share files with other people, I'm going to change the permissions of this directory. So I'm just going to make it so everyone has full access. So all 7s, 777s, right? That means that everybody can access that file, or I'm sorry, that directory. They can do whatever they want in that directory. So pretty straightforward. So now if I look at the permissions on this directory, oops, I forgot the, actually I'm just going to use LL. There we go. So if we look, you can see shared test. Everyone has full control, right? It's DRW, XRW, XRWX across the board for shared test. There's some other stuff in there that also has full permissions, but that's my shared folder, and we can do whatever we want in there. So I'm going to change directory into that folder. So we're going to go into temp, shared test. Now that I'm in here, I am going to create some files. So we're going to touch file 1, file 2, file 3. The touch command just creates a file for us. There's nothing in it. They're completely empty files. So now if I look at the contents of, and I can just use the LL command, it's going to show me that I've got my file 1, file 2, file 3. Notice the owner is student. I'm logged in as student in this tab. And I have read-write access to those files. Everyone else, whether they're in my group or globally, has read access to those files. And that's it. They should have read-only access from what I'm seeing, right? This is discretionary access control. I've created an access control for these files that, you know, everyone else should be able to read it, but I can write to it, right? Kind of makes sense, right? But let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go to this other tab. I'm going to change into the temp directory on this tab. Again, I can show, oops, I don't have that command here, but so I can see my files, right? There's my 3 files, file 1, file 2, file 3. It's read access only. Now, let's first try to edit file 1. So I'm going to use the VI command, and I'm going to see if I can edit file 1. Notice it says it's a read-only file. So I put some junk in here, try to save it. It should have failed. Let's see if it failed. It didn't, right? It let me edit that file. So I was able to, even though VI told me that it's a read-only file because it detected that from the file attributes, it still let me edit that file. Next, let me try to delete file number 2. So I'm going to use the RM command and remove file 2, and it asked me, do I want to remove this write-protected file number 2? And I'm going to say yes. Now let's run the ls command, and you can see file 2 is now gone. So the question is, why did that work, right? It's read-only access. It shouldn't have worked, but it allowed me to delete it. Well, the answer to that question is because that file or that directory has gives access to everyone. I'm still able to edit files even though I'm a different user account, right? Even though I'm logged in as test in this other tab. And I know I'm logged in as test. It gives me the context over here. So that's obviously a problem, right? That's probably not what our intention was. So we're going to reset this test now because we're going to do something a little bit different in the next step. So let's remove these files. So we're going to rm star. That should just remove these files. Now if I use the ls command, you can see the files are gone now. We're going to go ahead and create them again. So touch file 1, file 2, file 3. So now my files are created again. We're good to go to move on to the next step.